Good evening, everyone. In behalf of Mayor Carmen Montano and the rest of the council, I will call this meeting of the Milpitas City Council of May 19, 2026 to order. The City Council meetings available for instant translation in over 60 languages, with worldly accessible via mobile phone, computer, video displays by scanning the QR code located on the title of the agenda in the upper right corner. Back to today's business. City Clerk Gaceta, please take the roll.
Yes, thank you, Vice Mayor. Vice Mayor Barbadillo,
Here.
Councilmember Chua,
Here.
Councilmember Lamb,
Here.
Councilmember Lien,
Here.
and Mayor Montano.
All right, let's us all rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. And if my colleagues wishes to lead the Pledge of Allegiance, Councilmember Chua, please.
The flag.
Pledge allegiance to the flag, United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you, Councilmember Chua. For our invocation, I will do the invocation on behalf of, again, Mayor Carmen Montano. Let us all place ourselves to the presence of God. We thank you, Lord, for everything, every blessings that you have provided the community, the city council, and all of us. We continue to put our faith in you. And as tonight, as we tackle things about the city, we ask for your divine wisdom, your guidance in making the right decisions. Amen. All right, we go now to our presentations. Today, there will be presentations for the Asian American, Native Hawaiian, and Pacific Islander Heritage Month with a proclamation, National Police Month, and the Public Works Week May. Shall we? Thank you. Today we are having a presentation and a proclamation with regards to the Asian American, Native Hawaiian, and Pacific Islander Heritage Month. May is the Asian American, Native Hawaiian, and Pacific Islander Heritage Month, a time for our community to honor the generations of AANHPI residents who have shaped the history, culture, and achievements of our city and our country. From early pioneers to today's leaders, the contribution of AANHPI individuals continue to enrich Milpitas in countless ways. Tonight, we recognize the AANHPI community for their lasting impact and invite everyone to learn about their diverse histories and traditions. Join us, the Milpitas City Council, in proclaiming May of 2026 as the Asian American, Native Hawaiian, and Pacific Islander Heritage Month. May we ask Lori Almugela to receive the proclamation? Thank you, ma'am.
Good evening, everyone. Aloha, everyone. Mahalo nui loa, Councilman. Thank you very much for this honor. I'm going to get teary-eyed. I'm a long-time Milpitian, grew up here in Milpitas, went to Zanker Rancho and Milpitas High, and to do this for my community and still be here with all of you, it's an honor, and I thank you very much for giving us this honor recognition. Mahalo. Thank you. Members come for pictures. Sure, one to the front.
That's fine.
Thank you.
Good job.
Thank you very much. The next proclamation that we have is for the National Police Week. This week, the City of Milpitas observes National Police Week and Peace Officers Memorial Day to honor the service and sacrifices of law enforcement officers who protect our freedoms and ensure public safety. We are very grateful to the Milpitas Police Department for their unwavering dedication, integrity, and bravery, and take this time to remember those who made the ultimate sacrifice in the line of duty. Join us today, the Milpitas City Council, in proclaiming the National Police Week in the city of Milpitas. May we ask a representative of our department to receive the award. Yes.
Good evening, everyone. Good evening, Vice Mayor Barbadillo, Council. Tyler Jameson, currently serving as Acting Assistant Chief. During National Police Week, we take this moment to pause to honor and remember all the law enforcement officers who made the ultimate sacrifice in the line of duty. We recognize the courage it takes to serve, the risk officers face every day, and the profound loss carried by their families, their friends, and agencies left behind. Their service and sacrifice will never be forgotten. This week also reminds us of the responsibility we carry as public servants, which is to continue serving our community with integrity, compassion, and professionalism in honor of those who came before us. Here in Milpitas, we are proud to serve a community that values partnership, trust, and mutual respect. The support we receive from our city council, our residents, our businesses, our schools, and the families strengthen the work that we do every day and helps us continue building a safer community together. To all our officers, our dispatchers, our professional staff, volunteers, and especially the families that support them, thank you for the dedication and sacrifices you make every day. On behalf of the entire police department, we proudly support National Police Week and reaffirm our commitment to serving this community with honor while never forgetting those who gave their lives in service to others. Thank you.
And we are also claiming the National Public Works Week. This week, we celebrate the National Public Works Week and recognize the vital role that public works professionals play in our daily lives. The 2026 theme, Rooted in Service, Powered by Community, This is to recognize the long-standing commitment of public works professionals and the essential role public works play in building connected and thriving communities. Again, join us, the Milpitas City Council, in proclaiming National Public Works Week in the city of Milpitas. And our own director to receive the proclamation. Sir. Yes.
Thank you. Thank you, Vice Mayor, and good evening, City Council, members of the community. As the Public Works Director, I'm pleased to accept the proclamation in recognition of this year's National Public Works Week. This annual observance, instituted by the American Public Works Association in 1960, serves as a public education campaign to highlight the vital role of public works in your communities. As we celebrate National Public Works Week, I'm grateful for the dedication, skill, and commitment of all my colleagues who ensure the Milpitas community remains safe, resilient, and connected. I'd also like to take a brief moment to highlight a small sample of this summer's active projects. After completing a $5.5 million water replacement project, Dempsey Road is currently undergoing road reconstruction, scheduled to be completed by the 4th of July. Following this work, the contractor will proceed with repaving Great Mall Phase 2 project. Additionally, we'll soon embark on a third road reconstruction effort in the greater Yellowstone neighborhood, as well as completing sidewalk, curb and gutter rehabilitation, which is currently underway. A $1.2 million Senate Playground improvement project is currently in the demo phase and will soon mobilize on a project to enhance the exterior of the Milpitas Sports Center. Last but not least, no doubt many of you have noticed construction happening just next to us on the Calderas Median. This beautification project includes meandering pavers and rockscape to enhance the look of the roadway for commuters traveling east and westbound along the corridor. Project will also touch some of the medians adjacent to the Sarah Center and is anticipated to be completed by August. Again, thank you for recognition and recognizing all the tremendous work performed by the department's dedicated team. God bless you. Thank you.
All right. Now let's move on to the public forum. Members of the public are invited to speak on any item that does not appear on today's agenda. Please note that oral public comment may only be provided live at the City Council meeting in person, and public forum will be limited to 3 minutes. Any speakers on our list? City
Yes,
Clerk?
Vice Mayor, we have one speaker, Jacqueline Little. Oh, Jaden, I'm sorry, I mispronounced. Yeah, Jaden Little. Thank you.
Yes.
Yes, coming up to the microphone here, the podium.
I begin when I'm ready. Okay. Hello, everyone. My name is Jaden Little. I'm a senior at Milpitas Middle College High School, and I'm here to speak about the CALM framework, why it matters, and how it could be implemented here in the city of Milpitas. A few weeks ago, I reached out to a mentor of mine, Mr. Derwin Brown, founder and director of the Catalyst Foundation for Youth Development. I was passionate about finding ways to educate young people on how to interact safely and responsibly with law enforcement, and he introduced me to the CALM framework. The CALM framework is a strategy that teaches the youth how to be aware, disciplined, informed, and strategic during interactions with the police. It helps teens slow down, control their body language, protect their rights, and make safer choices. C stands for control your body, teaching you to immediately check their hands, facial expressions, feet, and tone of voice. A stands for ask the clarifying question, encouraging calm and direct communication during an interaction. L stands for limit your words, helping teens understand that arguing, debating, joking, or becoming emotional can sometimes escalate the situation. Lastly, M stands for move the fight to the follow-up, teaching teens that instead of arguing during an interaction about whether a stop is fair, they should remain cooperative while still understanding and protecting their rights. This framework is not about telling teens to be passive. It's about teaching them how to be strategic, informed, and safe. I believe there should be a partnership between the Milpitas Police Department and schools within Milpitas to build trust, understanding, and safety throughout our community. What could this look like? Consistent school assemblies and workshops involving police officers where students can learn about the CALM framework, understand the importance of safe interactions with law enforcement, and engage in open dialogue where they can ask questions, seek understanding, and share lived experiences. These conversations can help break down fear, improve communication, and create strong relationships between students and officers in our city. I asked the City Council to coordinate with the Milpitas Police Department and the Milpitas Unified School District to support and help fund this partnership so we continue building a safer, more connected community for everyone. Thank you for your time.
Thank you for that. Is there anyone else?
I have no other speaker cards, Mayor.
Okay, no one from the public, so now we will move on to announcement of conflict of interest and campaign contributions. City Attorney?
Thank you, Mayor. This time I would ask the mayor and each council member whether he or she has any financial or personal conflict of interest related to any items on tonight's agenda.
Vice Mayor Barbadillo.
None.
Councilmember Chua.
None.
Councilmember Lamb.
None.
Councilmember Leanne.
None.
Mayor Montano.
And I am none.
I would ask that the record reflect no reported conflict. At this time, I would also ask that the mayor and members of the Milpitas City Council please disclose any campaign contributions of $100 or more received within the last 12 months from any of the parties entering into contracts with the city on tonight's agenda, or contributions received from the development project applicant for development projects on tonight's agenda.
Vice Mayor Barbadillo.
I have none.
Councilmember Chua.
None.
Councilmember Lamb.
None.
Councilmember Leanne.
None.
Mayor Montano.
None.
Thank you. If there are no reported conflicts, I believe we can proceed.
Okay, thank you for that. So now moving on to the City Council Code of Conduct. Is there anyone that would like to read the Code of Conduct? Vice Mayor,
I will do that, Mayor.
thank you.
So the Milpitas City Council Code of Conduct. We pledge that we will be respectful and courteous. We will model civility. We will avoid surprises, praise publicly and criticize privately, focus on the issue and not the person, use electronic devices appropriately while in the council days, disclose conflicts of interest and affiliations related to agenda items. We separate governing from campaigning. The council speaks with one voice after making policy on issues. We respect the line between policy and administration, and council will hold one another accountable to comply with this code of conduct.
Okay, thank you very much. Vice Mayor Barbadillo. So now moving on to the approval of the agenda. Is there anyone that would like to make any changes before making a motion? And we have Council Member.
I don't want to go before you. Is it okay if I make a quick change? Mayor, I would ask that we move item 14 in front of item 13. They're related items. It just makes more sense to hear 14 first.
Okay, I agree with that. Do we need a consensus or do we have to have a vote?
If you just include that in the final motion.
So move.
Second.
Okay, all right. So now we'll call for the vote.
Vice Mayor Barbadillo,
Aye.
Councilmember Chua,
Aye.
Councilmember Lamb,
Aye.
Councilmember Lian,
Aye.
Mayor Montano.
And I'm an aye. Thank you. So now moving on to the consent calendar. Staff, do you have any comments to make on the consent calendar?
No comments, Mayor.
Okay, how about council members? None? Okay, so we'll call for a public comment on the consent calendar. Is there anyone from the public that would like to make any comments on the consent calendar? Any cards?
We have no speaker cards.
Okay, so now I'm going to ask for a motion and a second.
Seeing none, move to approve the consent calendar.
Second.
Okay, it was motioned by Councilmember Chua and seconded by Councilmember Lian. So let's call for the vote.
Vice Mayor Barbadillo,
Aye.
Councilmember Chua,
Aye.
Councilmember Lamb,
Aye.
Councilmember Lian,
Aye.
Mayor Montano.
And I am an aye. Thank you very much. So now we're moving on to public hearings. City Manager.
Thank you, Mayor. Pursuant to the vote of the council to move the agenda items, we will be hearing item number 14, which is to conduct a public hearing and consider introducing an ordinance adding a new section to Title XIII, Chapter B20 of the Milpitas Municipal Code to create a transit-oriented development overlay zoning district to implement Senate Bill 79 development standards, and our presenter will be Planning Director Jay Lee.
Okay, welcome.
I stand corrected. It looks like Lillian's going to be presenting for us.
Thank you, Acting City Manager Hernandez. Good evening, Mayor and City Council members and fellow staff. My name is Lillian Van Hall, and I'm a Principal Planner with the City of Milpitas. Next slide, please. The Abundant and Affordable Homes Near Transit Act, also known as SB 79, was signed by the Governor on October 10th, 2025. SB 79 takes effect July 1, 2026. It supersedes local zoning to allow qualifying private housing developments near major transit stops. It applies to sites zoned for residential, mixed use, or commercial within 1/2 mile of these major transit stops. It significantly limits local discretion over land use near transit. It does, however, allow local governments to adopt an ordinance to make their zoning code consistent with SB 79. Next slide, please. So why is a local ordinance necessary? SB 79 is the law, but it is silent on many local details. Absent a local ordinance qualifying housing projects that invoke SB 79 on commercially zoned lands would only be subject to the minimum development standards listed in the state legislation, with no additional local direction or specificity. The ordinance would allow the city to establish local development standards to complement the standards in SB 79 for multifamily residential development in our non-residential zoning districts. The local ordinance would allow the city to retain what limited authority it has to regulate SB 79 development. And lastly, a local ordinance would allow the city to manage the impacts associated with multifamily residential development in non-residential areas, which were not previously envisioned in the general plan. Next slide, please. The city of Milpitas has 3 major transit stops affected by SB 79. There are 2 tiers. They're Tier 1 and Tier 2. Tier 1 is typically categorized by heavy rail in Milpitas. That's our Milpitas Transit Station, aka the BART station, shown here on the map. Oh, that is a different presentation. Okay, but there was a map on there, but here on the the table, it shows that Tier 1 is heavy rail, very high frequency commuter rail. And so that's our Milpitas Transit Center and BART station. And then Tier 2 is typically light rail. And we have 2 of those within the city, the VTA Great Mall Light Rail Station and the Alder Light Rail Station. Next slide, please. So here are the minimum and maximum development standards under SB 79 based on the parcel's proximity to the TOD stop. They vary based on the tier, as I had previously mentioned. So for example, if a project site is located within 200 feet of a Tier 1 station or the BART TOD stop, they would be allowed to have a higher maximum height and density than a project that is further than a quarter mile, but within the half-mile distance from that same TOD stop. Next slide, please. So staff is proposing to create a transit-oriented development overlay district to implement SB 79. Based on feedback from the Planning Commission hearing on April 22nd, and to better align with the state's goals for transit-oriented development, staff modified its proposal from the initial minimum 40 dwelling units per acre. So staff made the changes above on the table in bold to specifically increase the minimum density up to 60 dwelling units per acre in all tiers and distances, with the exception of parcels further than a quarter mile and less than a half mile from the Tier 2 TOD stop, which is set at 50 dwelling units per acre. The varying maximum development standards set forth under state law remain the same. So while we cannot lower the minimum and maximum densities allowed under SB 79, we can increase them. Staff is also proposing has also proposed that all projects must follow development standards of the R5 Metro zoning district and R4 Metro for the Tier 2 half-mile parcels. And for parcels that are zoned for single-family R16, the minimum density will remain 30 dwelling units per acre, and they must follow the R4 zoning district standards. Next slide, please. So next, I'm going to explain the basis for the proposed zoning amendment. If commercial land is going to be converted to residential under SB 79, the city should ensure that conversion produces meaningful housing yield. So raising the minimum density floor will help the city better meet its RHNA obligations, its regional housing needs allocation number, and advance the state's housing production goals. The ordinance directs projects to follow R5 Metro and R4 Metro and R4 standards, and these zoning districts are a locally tested framework for high-density residential development within our city. And this approach reflects the city's long-standing commitment to transit-oriented, higher-density development near major transit stops. Next slide, please. So specifically, the proposed zoning code amendments are as follows. They will add a new section, B.20.040, Transit-Oriented Development Overlay Zone, to Title 13, Chapter B.20 of the Milpitas Municipal Code. It will implement California Government Code Sections 65912.155 through 65912.162. It also establishes applicability, definitions, and minimum residential and height standards for qualifying housing projects. The TOD overlay is applicable to any zoning district on lands within 1/2 mile of a transit-oriented development stop, as outlined under SB 79, and it will only be operative while SB 79 is in effect, and it shall have no force or effect if that legislation is repealed. Next slide, please. So here is a closer look at the TOD overlay applied to the city's 3 TOD stops. The red circle is Tier 1, surrounding the BART station. The black circles are Tier 2. The smaller circles with the hatched area are the areas that are within a 1/4 mile distance of the TOD stop. And the larger circles are the half-mile distances. Next slide, please. The proposed zoning text and map amendments are statutorily exempt from the California Environmental Quality Act under Government Code Section 65912.160 C2. This is an ordinance that is implementing Senate Bill 79. Next slide, please. A notice was published in the Milpitas Post and at City Hall, and as well as the city's website. And no comments have been received to date to staff. Next slide, please. Staff has confirmed that the project meets the findings associated with zoning map and text amendments for the proposed SB 79 ordinance as set out in the Milpitas Municipal Code. Next slide, please. So in closing, staff recommends that the City Council open the public hearing to receive comments, move to close the public hearing, and determine that the ordinance is statutorily exempt from CEQA under Government Code Section 65912.160 C2, and introduce an ordinance adding a new section to Title 13, Chapter B.20 of the Milpitas Municipal Code to create a transit-oriented development overlay zoning district and regulations implementing Senate Bill 79 development standards. That concludes my presentation for the first item, item 14.
Okay, great. Thank you very much. So is Director Lee, is he ill or something?
Yes, I believe he is available
Online?
virtually, yeah.
Okay, good. All right. So I'm going to open the public hearing on this item. Is there anyone from the public that would like to speak on this item?
Mayor, I do not have any speaker cards.
And there are no speaker cards. Anyone from the public? Okay, so I will close this public hearing and I will move it to a council discussion. We have Councilmember Lin.
Okay. I can ask. I guess this question is for City Attorney. So if we adopt this, I know that this is going to be in effect July 1st, and we do this now. Do we have any risk for any future lawsuit from state?
So that's a little bit broad. So I would start by saying you've got two actions in front of you. The next one is going to be the urgency ordinance. This ordinance will go into effect July 2nd because of the timing for both the first reading, the second reading, and then the 30 days until adoption. So as scheduled, this would actually go into effect one day after the statute goes into effect. The urgency ordinance, which will be the next hearing, is to address that one-day gap that will be between the implementation of the statute and the effective date. If you don't take any action, there's no real risk of litigation from the state, but you do have the issue that you will effectively have no regulations on those areas that are currently zoned. Let me clarify that. You will be missing key portions of your zoning code and your zoning regulations on those portions of land that are not currently zoned for residential use. So essentially, you'll have your employment lands, you may have your commercial properties. There's a little bit of dispute we have with the developer at the moment as to whether the statute applies to industrial lands. I believe there may be some guidance forthcoming on that soon. But the only local or the only zoning components that are in there are those that would be the minimum density. The other sorts of things that you have in your zoning code would simply not be there, so you have some risk of some disorderly development that would be coming. In terms of if you do adopt this one, I don't know that we've identified anything that particularly creates a risk of litigation from the state. That being said, there is a process by which we submit for approval. They give us any notes, and then there's an opportunity for some revision built into the statute. I don't believe we've identified anything that's likely to really create a tension with the state.
Okay.
Does that answer the question?
Yes, thank you.
Okay, is there anyone else? If there are no more questions, and is there a motion in a second? We have Councilmember Chua.
Mayor, if I may, just before, I don't think the recommended motion included the language regarding waiving reading of the full reading of the ordinance except for the title. We would ask that that be included in it, and then I'd also be happy to read it
Read that?
now if you'd like.
Yes, I
Yes,
would.
please.
So, oh, and I just clicked the wrong spot. The proposed ordinance is titled, "An Ordinance of the City Council of the City of Milpitas Amending the Zoning Map and Milpitas Municipal Code, Title 13, Chapter B20, to add the Transit-Oriented Development Overlay District and regulations implementing Senate Bill 79 development standards."
Thank you.
So moved.
There's a second. It was motioned by Councilmember Chua and seconded by Councilmember Lian. Let's call for the vote.
Vice Mayor Barbadillo,
Aye.
Councilmember Chua,
Aye.
Councilmember Lamb,
Aye.
Councilmember Lian,
Aye.
Mayor Montano.
And I'm an aye. Thank you. Okay. So now we're moving on to item 13, I believe.
Yes, Mayor, we're moving on to item 13. It is related to the previous item, so there's no new presentation. It's the same information. What this item is for council, to conduct a public hearing and consider adopting an urgency ordinance, adding a new section to Title 13, Chapter B, .20 of the Milpitas Municipal Code to create a transit-oriented development overlay zoning district to implement Senate Bill 79 development standards. This will fill that one-day gap that was mentioned by the city attorney.
Okay. So do I need to call for the same? So, okay, I will call for the public hearing on this item. Is there anyone from the public that would like to make any comments on this? Is there anyone, any speaker cards?
Mayor, I do not have any speaker cards.
Okay, now I will close the public hearing and back to council discussion. Okay, seeing none, we'll have City Attorney Curtis read the ordinance title.
Thank you, Mayor. The title of this ordinance is an uncodified urgency ordinance of the City Council of the City of Milpitas amending the zoning map and Milpitas Municipal Code Title 13, Chapter B20 to add the Transit-Oriented Development Overlay District and regulations implementing Senate Bill 79 development standards and determining the ordinance to be exempt from CEQA.
Okay, great. So now I need a motion and a second.
A motion to, okay, no, I do want to also say with a very slight adjustment, since it's urgent adoption, if we need to adjust anything from this ordinance, would staff bring that back to us? And with that, I move to approve this.
Yes, I'm looking at the planning department, but certainly if we found anything that would require adjustment, we would of course want to bring any proposals back to the city council for prompt action.
Thank you.
Okay.
I'll second that motion.
Okay, so it was motioned by Councilmember Lian and seconded by Vice Mayor Barbadillo. Let's call for the vote.
And before the vote, could I just clarify that that did include the waiver of the full reading of the ordinance, except for the title?
Yes.
And that's a yes on the
Yes.
the second.
Okay, call for the vote.
Vice Mayor Barbadillo,
Aye.
Councilmember Chua,
Aye.
Councilmember Lamb,
Aye.
Councilmember Lian,
Aye.
Mayor Montano.
Aye. Okay, thank you for that. So now we're moving on to item 15, City Manager.
Thank you, Mayor. Item 15 before the council is the adoption of a resolution approving a site development permit amendment, vesting tentative map, conditional use permit amendment, density bonus permit, and development agreement for 109 townhomes and 10 accessory dwelling units at 1320 McCandless Drive. And we have Planning Director Jay Lee remote, and you're gonna have to help me. I'm sorry.
Randy Baez.
Thank you, Randy.
Thank you, City Manager Hernandez, and good evening, Council. Our next item is for a site development permit amendment and all the other permits you see up there for 1320 McCandless Drive. And we have our Associate Planner, Randy Baez, here to deliver the presentation.
Thank you, Director Lee, and good evening, Mayor, council members, and members of the public. Again, my name is Randy Baez, Associate Planner with the City of Milpitas Community Development Department. Next slide, please. This application includes a request to develop 109 townhomes, including 22 affordable and 9 live-work units, and 10 ADUs with associated improvements on a vacant 5.49 acre site. Next slide. For some background on the property, the site has a long entitlement record going back to the original Transit Area Specific Plan, or TASP, which was adopted in 2008, to the current application, which was submitted last year. Next slide, please. In 2011, Integral Communities submitted the original master planned mixed-use development application for what was then called the district, encompassing 4 blocks along McCandless Drive, as you see here. In 2015, the city approved a site development permit and conditional use permit for Lot 3, which authorized a mixed-use building with 423 apartment units, 175-room hotel, and approximately 59,000 square feet of retail space. Over the following years, Lion Living acquired all 4 blocks of the district, now known as the Fields, and has been developing them in phases. Lots 1, 2, and 4 have all been built out, and Lot 3, or also known as Lot 3A, is the final remaining undeveloped parcel within this development. The current application before you tonight represents the applicant's updated vision for Lot 3A, reflecting current market conditions, updated state housing law, and the city's adopted Milpitas Metro Specific Plan. Next slide. The current application proposes a further amendment to the site development permit in 2015 and the subsequent amendment in 2021. These changes are summarized in the table here. As you can see, there has been a steady decrease in the number of dwelling units and commercial area, which reflects a change in market demand. Next slide. Tonight's application consists of 5 entitlements, all of which are being considered together. First, a site development permit amendment to amend the previously approved design for Lot 3. Second, a vesting tentative map to subdivide the 3 existing parcels into a new configuration to support the proposed development. Third, a conditional use permit amendment to modify the previously approved CUP for the site to reflect the updated project program. Fourth, a density bonus permit to utilize state density bonus law incentives, concessions, and waivers in support of the project's affordable housing component. And fifth, a development agreement between the City of Milpitas and Lion Living to establish the terms and obligations of the project's development, including public benefits, infrastructure, and vested rights. Next slide. Here is an aerial of the property. The project site is located near the intersection of Great Mall Parkway and McCandless Drive within the McCandless district of the Metro Plan. Next slide. The general plan designation for the project site is Milpitas Metro Specific Plan, or Metro Plan. The Metro Plan classifies the site as residential retail high density mixed use, or RRMU. This designation supports a vertically mixed-use development that has ground floor retail and active uses with residential or office uses on upper floors. Table 3 in the attached staff report further shows how this project meets these findings of the general plan. Next slide. This slide shows how some of the development standards will be met through the development agreement and density bonus permit. The residential density of the project is approximately 20 dwelling units per acre, which does not meet the allowed minimum density of 40 units per acre in the MXD2 Metro Zoning District. However, previous approvals established the use of density averaging across the fields / district development, allowing flexibility in the distribution of units among the various lots. The average density across this development with the proposed project would be 31 units per acre, and the proposed DA would preserve the minimum residential density of 30 units per acre previously allowed for the subject property under the TASP. Therefore, with density averaging across the field's district development, the project would meet the TASP minimum density with 30 units per acre. Next slide, please. Although the site is surrounded by streets on all four sides, primary access to the site will be limited to one driveway along Market Street to the south in order to provide a more continuous facade and urban perspective from the other street frontages and surrounding areas. Next slide. The proposed project is grouped into 17 buildings on the project site. All 17 buildings range from 3 to 4 stories in height and feature contemporary architecture with a variety of building materials including stucco, siding, metal roof elements, and brick stone veneer. Next slide. The project meets the required public open space, most of which is proposed in an urban plaza. Here is an enlarged section of the urban plaza at the corner of McCandless and Market Street, along with conceptual features of the area. Next slide. The city's Affordable Housing Ordinance, or AHO, applies to all new residential development projects of 10 units or more. Pursuant to the municipal code, the applicant must reserve 15% of the total number of dwelling units within the development as affordable units. Since the project proposes for-sale townhomes, all affordable units are required to be at the moderate income level or lower per the city's AHO. Although the city's AHO requires projects to construct 15% of the total number of dwelling units as affordable units on site, some exceptions can be made with City Council approval. The project proposes 109 market rate townhomes without any below market or BMR units on site, which is inconsistent with the city's AHO. However, the applicant is proposing to provide 22 BMR rental units by converting market rate apartments in the adjacent mixed-use building to the south of the project site, commonly known as Gideon. The Gideon building has 213 rental apartment units, all of which are currently rented at market rate. Condition of approval numbers 24 through 26 within the resolution require the applicant to clearly address which of these apartment units will be converted to BMR units prior to the building permit issuance of the townhome. Next slide. Although the project is not reserving affordable units on site, the state density bonus law permits local jurisdictions to provide incentives or concessions even where a development may not otherwise be entitled. For that reason, the city could allow the applicant to request incentives or concessions for the project through the DA. Therefore, the applicant is requesting the following concessions. Both of these concessions are necessary to make the project economically feasible for the applicant to build, since meeting the commercial requirement and minimum sidewalk width requirement would significantly increase the project cost. Next slide. The project is also eligible for a development agreement, or DA, because it is a large-scale multifamily residential project and part of a multi-phased master plan development requiring significant investment and multiple years to construct. This DA would also allow the completion of the last phase of the district or field development. Through the proposed DA, the landowner and city would preserve the minimum residential density previously allowed for the subject property under the TASP at 30 units per acre. In consideration, the landowner shall provide the following offsetting public benefits to the city: a $400,000 voluntary contribution to the city, and a conversion of 3 low-income and 1 very low-income residential units at the Gideon building to the south. And those would be in addition to the 18 BMR units already counted as part of the AHO requirement, for a total of 22 BMR units. The proposed DA allows redevelopment of the site, which has long been vacant as the rest of the field/district development has been constructed under the previous task standards. The current minimum density of the Metro Plan of 40 units per acre is difficult to meet under current market conditions. Next slide. Staff has determined that the proposed project is categorically exempt from environmental review under the California Environmental Quality Act, or CEQA, Guidelines Section 15182, as the project is primarily residential in nature and is consistent with the TASP EIR, as well as the Metro Plan subsequent EIR. Next slide. Staff has also determined that the proposed project meets the required findings for site development permits, CUPs, tentative maps, density bonus permits, and development agreements. Next slide. A notice was published in the Milpitas Post, and 2 signs were posted on site along McCandless at the corner of Great Mall Parkway as well as Centerpoint. The city also sent out over 1,000 postcards to nearby property owners, and I believe 2 letters in support of the project were received today. Next slide. In closing, staff recommends the City Council conduct a public hearing, consider the exemptions in accordance to CEQA, and adopt a resolution approving these permit numbers for the property located at 1320 McCandless Drive. This concludes staff's summary of the project, and the applicant team from Lion Living is also here with a presentation and is available for any questions. Thank you.
Okay, great. Thank you very much for that presentation. So I'm going to open this to the public. Is there anyone from the public that would like to make any comments on this?
I do not have any speaker cards, Mayor, but as Randy mentioned, the applicant is here.
Okay. Is there anyone from the public on the floor? Anyone? Okay, we'll close the public hearing and we'll move on to council discussion. City council members.
Yeah.
I know, but discussion. Questions? Stay here.
Mayor, if I may, since the applicant does want to speak, they would be entitled to speak the same way as members of the public.
Okay.
I would recommend giving them the opportunity.
Okay, go ahead and do your presentation.
The fields to explain why this final phase completes an 11-year master plan for Milpitas. Before I get started, I would like to thank city staff for working diligently with our team on this project. Next slide, please. I'm going to give you a very quick amount of background. Lion Living is a vertically integrated developer, owner, and operator with over 35 years of experience and a track record in Milpitas since 2008. Lion Living has developed over 10,000 units between California and Nevada and has already developed 1,000 units within Milpitas, including 638 operating at the fields. Next slide, please. Lion Living has 3 apartment communities at the fields, including Turing, Graham, and Gideon. Taken together, there are 638 apartment homes and 80,000 square feet of retail development, with more than $50 million of private capital invested in the fields to date. Next slide, please. The fields has been very successful, and Lion Living is excited to be here tonight to present the final phase of development for the council's consideration. Next slide. The fields was approved in 2015 as 4 buildings and 3 are complete. Unfortunately, after more than 10 years, the original hotel and apartment vision had to be revised to reflect the market realities. After a significant amount of work with city staff, Elion provides a viable path to finish the plan and activate the remaining lot. Next slide, please. Elion introduces for sale townhomes and live-work units to diversify the type of housing available, attract families, and create deeper neighborhood roots. And the design is really intentional to activate the space and bring in the public. The heights step down to adjacent residential edges between 36 and 49 feet, which is significantly lower than the 85-foot height limit, providing a sensitive transition to surrounding neighborhoods. Next slide, please. As you heard in the staff report, the project includes 109 townhomes, inclusive of 9 live-work units and 10 ADUs for a total of 119 units. The project will include 18 low-income units and 4 very low-income units for a total of 22 deed-restricted affordable units. All affordable units will be implemented across the street at Gideon. These units are already built and will be converted quickly to affordable units. The DA provides the city with 4 more affordable units than would otherwise be provided, and a total of 4 very low-income units. The DA also provides a voluntary contribution of $400,000 and a 27,832 square foot public urban plaza. Finally, the DA has a very short term requiring Lion Living to perform quickly. Next slide, please. The site is comprised of 17 buildings, and Elian will be open and walkable. There are continuous public sidewalks on all 4 frontages, no perimeter fencing, and an activated street edge along Market Street. The live-work units are in buildings 8 and 9. You can see the kind of bluey purpley areas, and the ADUs are located internally between buildings 11 and 17, as shown in the yellow. Next slide, please. The plan was designed with significant open space and far exceeds the city's standards for both private open space and publicly accessible open space. And the Urban Plaza, again, is intended to be a real community gathering space. You see the Urban Plaza in the purple, kind of the circular area. Next slide, please. The building materials and massing were chosen to implement the existing mid-rise context: stucco, fiber cement siding, stone base, and articulated facades with top floor setbacks. The design is consistent with the city's general plan policies for compatibility, height, and street-facing facades. Next slide, please. And here are just a couple of additional renderings to get a sense of the project. Next slide, please. As you have heard, the project includes 22 affordable rental units, which is 5 more than required, and includes 4 very low-income units. These affordable units will be protected with a 55-year covenant. The economic and civic benefits include the $400,000 contribution for transportation and community benefit, and the 119 new homes near transit is consistent with the Milpitas Metro Specific Plan and General Plan. The plan reflects the city's commitment to housing production, affordability, and orderly development, and Elian represents the first for-sale product at the Fields with 9 live-work units to support small businesses and provides ongoing activation along Market Street. Next slide, please. Tonight, we urge the council to approve the project. We have reviewed the project conditions of approval and are in full agreement. I thank you very much for your time, and I'm available to answer any questions that you may have.
Thank you very much for that presentation. Now moving on to the council for any questions, comments.
Mayor.
Okay. We have Councilmember Chua.
Randy, please. Slide. Slide 9, please. Can you briefly, because if I'm looking at this and I look at complies, it says no, no, no. Can you briefly explain how that no, those no's became yeses?
Sure. Thank you. Thank you, council member, for that question. Yes, so typically these sort of proposals for these development standards would be considered non-compliant. However, with the development agreement and the density bonus permit, it would exempt these requirements.
What's in the development agreement made the requirement for MXD2 Metro 40 to 85 okay with 20? I just need for the residents to understand why
Sure.
that is. You can explain that briefly.
Sure. 1 second. So although the project proposes a density at 20 units per acre, the fields/district development has a history of density averaging. So if we take a look at all of the units within the district/fields and average those densities, those would be approximately 31 units per acre. And the original transit area specific plan had a minimum density requirement of 30 units per acre. So
What region did you get the numbers from? You said based on the region. Which region did you get it from?
the fields/district. So the four.
Do you want to show it on the map, please?
Sure. The 4 lots in slide 4. Yeah, so this area is referred to as the fields/district. And if we include all the residential units within this area and average them out with the combined acreage of all 4 sites, it would be approximately 31 units per acre.
Okay, can we go back please to slide 9? Okay, how about active use?
Right, so the original specific plan had a requirement for active use, which is essentially commercial areas along street frontages. With the proposed development agreement, the development agreement would essentially allow them to have a commercial component only on the Market Street frontage.
But we're not having that.
If I may chime in. So for the active use and the sidewalk width, these are being addressed actually through the state density bonus law. So if a developer provides affordable housing, which is being provided in this case, then you are eligible for a certain number of waivers and concessions. They are through the development agreement, we've been able to confirm that, or through the project, we've confirmed that there are 2 developers entitled to 2 concessions, meaning reductions in the standards. So the active use requirement is actually 80% of the frontages on all three frontages except for Great Mall Parkway. So we're reducing that requirement and counting the 9 live work units as commercial space. But because those live work units are only on Market Street and not for the full frontage, this is considered a reduction in that standard. But through the state density bonus law, they can ask for that reduction, which the council can approve. The sidewalk width as well, the requirement through the Metro plan is 18 feet, and they are providing 8 or 10. It varies depending on the frontage. So this is also a reduction of the requirement, which is also a concession that could be approved by council through the state density bonus law. The density range is being addressed through the development agreement, as Associate Planner Randy Bai has mentioned. And I think density averaging, you can look at it as a way of providing flexibility for a developer. So if you're doing a phase development, maybe the first phase you can have higher density, such as apartments, because all 3 other lots that have been developed are all apartments. This one is townhouses. So it allows for a variety of products as long as the overall density for the entire project comes out to a minimum average. And then so the development agreement allows you to apply different standards for the project. So what the development agreement is asking for is to reach back to the TASP density, which used to be lower and apply that to this project. Just want to provide a little bit of specificity for these three requirements, how the active use sidewalk addressed through state density bonus law, density range through the development agreement.
I see. So it's really the density bonus law that these were allowed, this making them compliant.
For
Thank you.
for the active use and the sidewalk width. Yes.
Exactly. Okay. And slide 11, please. Is that 11 or 12? Could be 12. Nope. How about 13? There you go. So, in essence, our housing ordinance requires developers 15% to be affordable. And you mentioned that they actually exceeded that to close to 20%, correct?
They did exceed the minimum. I don't remember off the top of my head the percentage, but they are proposing.
But it's higher than
22.
15%, I think.
Yes, yes.
And I believe you're right, Councilmember. The percentage, if you were to do the math, is around 20.
Okay. My question is, remind us again and the residents, what is low income and then very low income? What we're saying here is we have 15%, 15 units of low income and 3 very low income and one very low income and 3 low income. Can you give us the range again, what those are?
Director
So
Lee.
the residents can know if they qualify for those.
Sure.
Yes. Yeah, I'll take a stab at this one. So for affordable housing and the categories, it's based off of the area median income. So there is an area median income for each city, and then you take a percentage of that percentage of the area median income. So for example, moderate income is considered 80 to 120% of the AMI. Low is 50 to 80% of the AMI, and then very low is 30 to 50% of the AMI. So it's and then you deed restrict these units so that they are either rented or sold at at a level that is affordable for those income levels.
Okay, say that again so it's clear to the people watching.
So the BMR units are deed restricted units that these units can either be sold or rented at a price that's affordable for the income level. So low again would be 50 to 80%, and then very low would be 30 to 50% of their area median income.
Can we put numbers on this? Not percentage?
It's
we know?
difficult, yeah, because we need to look up, what those numbers are and then apply the percentages, and then each it also varies by the unit type. So it's a bit complicated. We could get those numbers for you, but I don't think we'd be able to get it offhand right now.
Oh, okay. Can you please do an info memo on that for the rest of the council? So we can, communicate that if there's a question to us from our residents. My other question is, there's a commitment to do this from the developer. How do we monitor that it's being done? Have you put some guidelines or monitoring system to make sure that they adhere to these 22 units?
Sure. So, Councilmember, you're specifically asking about the affordable components?
Yes.
Okay. So there are 3 conditions of approval, at least in the resolution, that do require the applicant and developer to identify and clarify which residential units within the Gideon building will be converted, and those will be approved by city staff prior to building permit issuance of the townhome development.
That's at the beginning, but what about the actual application that they were really sold at that level? How do you monitor that?
To verify at what rent those units are being
You're right.
rented at. Director Lee, would you be able to answer that?
I think so. Once we're getting into that realm, we're getting into more of what our housing staff does. So I don't know if Assistant City Manager might be able to speak a little bit on some of the programs that happen after entitlement.
Sure. We do have an affordable housing agreement that is developed with every developer. That is, obviously, if we have an agreement with someone and they don't follow it, there's actions that we can take as an organization. So it'll be a formal agreement signed that restricts those units, as well as ensures that they're kept at the affordability rates for the time period designated in the conditions.
Because this is going to be ongoing. See what I'm saying? How do you monitor that what is in the contract is being followed? That's my concern.
Sure, thank you. And so we have a partner, House Keys, who we partner with, who helps us with our below market rate portfolio. And so we are, I can follow up more offline, or not offline. We can follow up more with the mayor and city council on some details of that program. But essentially, we do have formal agreements with a developer for the affordable housing units to make sure they're restricted. And we do have a partner who helps us monitor the below market rate units to ensure that they're continuing to serve those residents in most need.
Okay. Yes, just make sure we don't forget that.
Yes.
Thank you. Thank you, Assistant City Manager. And thank you, Randy. That's all I have for now,
Thank
Mayor.
you. Thank you for that. Yeah, I just wanted to kind of piggyback on yours. I guess the bottom line is you want to find out if there's oversight. We do have a subcontractor, House Keys, and I guess the question is, who's going to do the oversight? Is it the Lion, I guess, Lion Living, or is it going to be the subcontractor, House Keys?
Sure. So the developer who the owner of the units is the one that is actually going to be entering into leases with homeowners at the affordability levels that are agreed upon. But our housing team and our Office of Housing, working out of the city manager's office, works with House Keys to monitor the overall program. And so they're
going to be working in tandem then?
Correct.
Okay, I just wanted to, because I think that's the bottom line. We wanted to make sure there's some oversight. Yeah. Okay. Is there anyone else that would like to make any more comments? We have William Lamb.
Thank you, Mayor. I have a number of questions. Can you go back to slide number 5? Okay, somehow. What's my voice? Okay. In 2015, it appears the original plan was to build a 423 apartments and with a hotel, 175 rooms, and then right now is on no hotel but only 109 townhomes. So it's almost 75% in reduction in the number of I would say homes. Instead of 423, you got 109. That's a big reductions. Yeah. I'm not sure we could. This is a big piece of land also. once we approve this, it's going to be there for years and years. Okay, and can you go back to slide 15 again? Not this one. It's the one Councilmember Chua was pointing at. Yeah, 13. Thank you. What's the average square footage of the townhome?
Thank you, Commissioner Lamb. The townhomes vary greatly. I think the most common layout of the townhome is 3 bedrooms, but I would invite the applicant to help answer that question.
Councilmember Lamb, again, Shauna Schaffner representing Lion Living. The average is 1950.
1950. What's the average size of the Gideon building?
Councilmember Lamb, the Gideon units are smaller, but if I might be so bold, I think what you're asking is there a square footage equivalency as is found in the AHO, the Affordable Housing Ordinance? And the answer to that is those provisions are not necessary, as explained in the staff report, because the council has the authority through conversion of existing residential units into affordable housing units that we can provide additional affordable units to meet compliance, and we can also provide enhanced affordability. So that means the very lowest affordability column. If we do those two things, we then satisfy the ordinance without having to have a bedroom count comparison or square footage comparison. And I think that is outlined in the staff report.
Just for my information, what's the average square footage of those apartments?
These apartments range from studio, 1-bedroom, and 2-bedroom units, and they all have different square footages. I don't have the actual square footages off the top of my head. I think they're smaller.
What's that?
They're smaller than the proposed townhomes, for
Small,
sure.
500?
1,000? Thank you so much. Roughly 850 square feet. And again, there's a mix of studios, 1-bedroom, and 2-bedroom affordable units that would be converted for those 22 affordable units.
Okay. And the townhome is for sales, and they are from range 2-bedroom to 3 bedrooms.
Yes. 2 to 4, excuse me.
Or 2 to 4.
Thank you.
But the apartments are for rent.
Yes, the Gideon is an existing for-rent apartment community. There will be a conversion of existing apartments for the affordable units, and they will remain for-rent affordable units. And the development agreement does have an annual compliance review that is required so that the property owner is submitting affordability check-ins each year.
Then it's a different. If 70% or 15% of the 109 unit, it will be 17 units for sale for no income. But if you give 22 rental units, those are rentals. It's different type of,
Yes, that's correct. The AHO does allow rental units to be affordable units.
and
Pardon.
and the apartments are range from studio to 2 bedrooms, right?
Yes, that is correct.
So it's not the same if a low-income family couldn't move into an apartment, but they could move into those townhomes.
Well, in this case, perhaps they can move into a 2-bedroom apartment, but based on the way that the AHO is set up, this project does demonstrate compliance with the affordable requirements. And again, that's providing additional affordable units. So where 17 would be required, we have 22, and we have additional in the very low income category, which is incredibly hard to provide. I also understand that there are perhaps upwards of 40 units, for sale affordable units in the pipeline coming through the city. So this is not the only project that would be offering affordable units in the city.
Why would you offer 22 rental units instead of the 15%, which is 17 units of the townhomes?
Yes, Councilmember Lamb, I think, this property, as you noted, was originally entitled in 2015. Lion has been carrying this project for a very long time. The market has changed. This is the project that we think is economically viable and also meets the city's requirements.
But it might not satisfy certain requirement from the state point of view. I think the affordable home was intended for families who cannot afford the market rate. So they can afford the reduced rate. But with the rental, they continue to rent, but they could not own their own properties.
And that is the way that the AHO is written. So, yeah, I understand. Also,
And also the room is different. It's from studio to 2 bedrooms, which is limited the size of the families.
yes, but in this case, the AHO requires moderate income affordable housing, and we are providing only low and very low. So it is a different income level that we are accommodating here, not just 15 moderate units. It's very different, and I think that the low and very low income units are very desirable for the city, which is how we came to this proposal in consultation with city staff.
I feel like the low-income family get the short end of the stick here. Yeah, that's it for now.
Okay, thank you very much. Is there anyone else that would like to make any comments? I have a comment on, so on the slide with the park, can you show that? So I wanted to ask, is that park going to be private or is it public? And then how big is it?
Yeah, thank you, Mayor. The park will be open to the public. As the applicant mentioned during their presentation, there is no fence component. It's supposed to be open to the area. And as far as the size, I believe it's approximately 29,000 square feet.
So what would it be, like as big as this room here? The chambers, 29,000 feet, or is it bigger?
I am not sure how large this chamber is.
And the reason why I asked, because we had a developer develop some land down the street, and in the rendering, it looked like it was a huge park, right? And they said it was going to be open to the public, but as time went on, it ended up being a private park, which was, I think, it was so unfair for the surrounding community, because they were looking forward to having a little park because they don't have one. So I just want to make sure that this is open to the public and that it's big. It's not a little dinky little park. So yeah, if you can explain that.
Do you mind if I address this?
Please.
Thank you so much. So the park is over half an acre, and completely open to the public. So it's a nice, large, robust side. As perhaps, if you want, we can go to one of the slides in my PowerPoint, if that's possible. Where'd it go? Slide 9, please. This slide has all of the open space depicted on it, and I think it will help you to understand how open this site will be. Again, there's no fences through it. There's no, nothing barring the public from walking through and congregating. And this urban plaza is really intended to be a gathering spot. So you see the blue, we have the sidewalk areas. The purple is the urban plaza and these very accessible walkways. And then we also have private open space that would be intended for residents to use. So I think I mentioned in my presentation, the proposal far exceeds the city's open space requirements for both private open space and also publicly accessible open space.
Trader Joe's is on the left-hand side?
Trader Joe's.
Okay. That's going to be a nice park, actually.
Yeah.
Okay. And then can you explain, you mentioned San Francisco, Market Street being part of a San Francisco urban setting. Can you explain what that means?
I apologize, Mayor. Can you restate the question? I don't recall any reference
There
to
was
San Francisco.
a slide that had San Francisco, I don't remember what, urban setting or something like that?
Oh, thank you.
SF? I'm assuming it means
Let's
San Francisco.
see. Urban setting.
Am I the only one that saw that? Oh, was that square foot?
Square footage. SF. I apologize. Square footage. A lazy abbreviation.
Okay, well, never mind. I was thinking, it's going to be like San Francisco.
And Mayor Montano, if you will, if I may, I did a quick calculation, and the City Hall courtyard area, that is around 21,000 square feet. So this urban plaza would be larger.
It's going to be. I like the fact that you have the park right near, the main entrance. Trader Joe's is right there. That's really nice. So my question is also on the frontage of Great Mall. Are the houses going to be facing Great Mall, or are they going to be facing in, the entrance to the home? Is it going to be facing Great Mall, or is it going to be facing?
Again,
Do you have a
Shauna Schaffner.
rendering? Do you have a picture of that?
I don't believe we have a picture of that. We have the site plan. But to answer your question, they will be facing Great Mall.
So they will be entering.
If we go to page, let's see.
City Clerk, if you can open slide 10.
Is there going to be a fence there, or is it just open?
No, very open to the public, encouraging people in the community walking through, really trying to engage this space.
So, that's a major street. So, did you factor in the safety, if the cars are...
Absolutely, and this plan was very well
what kind
vetted with city staff.
What kind of barrier do you have there?
The sidewalk.
Just the sidewalk?
Yes. You wanted San Francisco.
Yeah. The trees, yeah. Just the trees, I guess. Yeah. I do like that you mentioned about Market Street. That's going to be an open plaza. There will be people can have events there.
Farmers
like,
markets, whole
food,
thing.
Food, what do you call it? Farmers market.
Yes.
I do like that. So, yeah. Can you show the building again? The rendering of the apartments, the townhomes?
Sure. Can we go to slide 10, please?
That is.
Sorry. Of the applicant's PowerPoint.
So do these colors, do they match the surrounding, like the other, you have Turing, Graham, Gideon, Elion, are they in conforming with the other?
Yeah, I think the design theme is to really be contemporary and transitional, to kind of marry everything, to have this be very elevated and nice, but also fit in with the existing development.
Okay. And then can you explain what workforce housing, because a lot of people don't know what workforce housing is?
Absolutely. Workforce housing is
Public-
designed to put housing near jobs and near transit so people have an easier time of getting to their jobs, staying in their communities.
So on the bottom floor is the workforce housing.
So I believe we're referencing the 9 live-work units.
Oh, yeah.
Yes, and those are designed to be ground floor storefronts. Perhaps it's a little boutique coffee shop or a little boutique, where you could buy clothing, or maybe it's an architect that has his office there. And so those ground floors are designed to be very activated, so people can be shopping at Trader Joe's and then popping in to get a little coffee. And then the upper floors are the living areas that would be private.
So it's just basically mixed use, so when you think about it. Yeah, I like the fact that you have some potential for retail businesses down on the bottom floor. Yeah, I do like this project, but I'm just concerned about the Great Mall. I don't know what you can do too, because there are speeders there. So anyhow, anyone else have any questions? We have Vice Mayor Barbadillo.
Let me see if I can remember my question. Let me restate the narrative historically to see if I can remember, and let's try to answer that, right? So let's talk about history. I know personally that area. Way back, I used to have my work location on Center Point Drive, and this was way back, I think in the 2010s. And so the history seems that in 2011, this was owned by another developer. And at that time, through our policies and existing requirements at the time, we did approve something for mixed use. And we called that at the time the district, and it composes of several areas, right? And the vision at that time is for that area is to develop retail, commercial, high-density residential, and whatnot, right? To cater for the TASP that was somehow promulgated in 2008. And then things changed. It was bought by Lions, and in 2015, I believe, it was renamed into the Fields and divided into different lots. And but the plan remained the same until 2025, when there was a submitted amendment proposal to where we are now, as proposed currently in front of us. Right? So I think the first question is, now that I remember, is for the staff, right? So when and how are we considering changes in original plans and visions that we have way back in 2010 and 11 to where we are now? How did we arrive at a conclusion that this is better for this district based on our policies that we have then, during, and currently? I'll give you a hint, right? Because what I've heard so far is they said, this is based on changes of market conditions. That's all I heard. For the reason why these projects, is solicited to be approved.
I'm sorry, could you repeat that question one more time, the full question?
Right, so the full question is, there was history of changes of our vision on this area, starting from 2008 when we did the TASP, all the way to 2011 when this was originally bought by Integral with a different vision, then transferred to Lions, and then there were again different visions. And now we're fitting in 2025 with a proposed amendment, we're fitting it based on what we believe to be current market conditions, doing away with the original vision that we have way back in 2011. So what made us, what could convince us to change those visions we had originally for this area to what we're trying to approve tonight?
Sure. Yes, I can answer that one. I think it's a very good and kind of a big picture question. No, you're right in that the original vision, and even with the metro plan, actually increasing the minimum density from 30 dwelling units per acre to 40 dwelling units per acre, it envisions a higher density product here because of its proximity to transit. So I would what I would say is this project, it's like there are versions of a project that would be more ideal in staff's mind. Like if we were to get, the original project, which is high density with a hotel and 30,000 square feet of retail, like that would be, the ideal project. But we believe given with the development agreement and the density bonus law that this at least meets the bare minimum. So it's really a policy decision at that point. Once you meet all the standards, it does become a policy decision. I think there are a lot of policies that this project does meet in the general plan and the specific plan still, because with the original task, it actually did allow for townhouses, which is why we do have townhouses to the south. So it's not like townhouses are prohibited. I would just say that the density range, at least in the task, was 30 dwelling units per acre at a minimum. And then it goes up higher where you can have the podium style buildings and higher density apartments. But as we're hearing, as you mentioned astutely, that the market is not ideal right now for higher densities because of the cost of construction and labor. So it's really, for moving forward, it's a decision whether, a project like this, townhouses, that meets, the minimum requirements through the various permits, whether, we accept that or do we go for the ideal scenario, which may or may not happen for quite some time. So I do think it does become a policy decision once the project meets the requirements.
Right, acceptance is one thing, realizing the vision is another, right? So, if you look at history on how we're approving things, this proverbial development agreement is a wild card to each and every development that we have to cater for an approval, right? So I understand that, right? It balances a development agreement may balance what we may lose, and on the justification that at least some qualifications or requirements are met. So, but my hanging question is, what should convince us to change? Planning is, well, what I've learned from staff really is, planning is something that you just don't do now, but it's a process within which you have to have a vision going forward. Like let's say in the 1950s, they're planning to use a 4-lane highways, and at that time it's only some small cars traveling. So I think that's where really my question is now that I'm realizing, right? If the only reason why we're saying is, hey, we have anyway, the sanctioned government code development agreement, as long as they can comply with future laws and whatnot, it's okay. But where is the justification of deviation to the vision that we had originally for this area?
Yeah, if I may, it's
Right.
a very good and fair question. So what I would say is, for this project, I wouldn't say that we're changing our vision. I think, yeah, it's the task also allowed for townhouses at the time, and townhouses are allowed as a use. But you're right, it comes down to whether, through a development agreement, whether we think that the public benefits outweigh the cost. And there are certain things about the project that could be argued, which the developer could expound upon, but it does provide greater levels of affordability, units at a greater level of units, and also at a lower level of affordability near transit than otherwise would have been provided. So that is a benefit there. It's, the townhouse product is there. There's a variety of housing types there, right? There's already townhouses, but there are also higher density, and I think this would just fit into the existing housing mix. The townhouses also have this, which is kind of a unique situation, is it has a street frontage on all sides and it is open, so it's very well integrated into the surrounding area. So it's a well integrated urban infill project. So there are things, there are policies that this project does still meet. But I would, what you point out is also a fair question. So yeah, and I would also invite the applicant to weigh in and speak to some of these points.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. I would like to add that Lion Living has been trying to get this project off the ground since 2015, and it hasn't happened. As you noted, market conditions, and there's labor costs, and there's construction cost increases. Interest rates are incredibly high, right? We have all of these factors. But through the development agreement, the city will be able to achieve RENA gains during this cycle with this project. Without it, the project site will be vacant for the unforeseeable future. So it is very hard to sit on a vacant piece of property for more than 10 years and then to bring something viable to the community that fits, integrates, meets the goals of the general plan, transit-oriented, is retail-oriented, really activated in this way. And so we think that this project is the best way to balance what was originally proposed versus what the market will bear. Keith, I don't know if you have anything to add. I'd like to invite my client, Pete Zach, to address you as well.
Mayor, council members, Peter Zach, one of the principals at Lion Living. I sat before this council, or presented before this council back in 2015, the original vision that you're talking about. And we've worked really hard to carry out that vision. We've been patient with retailers coming in. We signed the lease with Trader Joe's, which we were really excited about. We could have taken a lot of other markets that came by. But the bottom line is that we developed this project and we didn't leave town. We love the city. We've been great long-term partners, and we wouldn't be developing this key piece of property in the center of our project if it wasn't going to complement, and we didn't think it was a good complement to what's already there. So I wanted to tell you, like, the rational reason. You give all the reasons, like economically, why the other project hasn't worked, but we wouldn't be doing this in our own backyard, so to speak, if we didn't believe it was the right thing to do. To give you some perspective, we have 75,000 square feet of commercial space that we've built. We only have about 2/3 of that that's been occupied, including leases that have been recently signed. So we really want to fill up that space with really strong retailers. We love the Fields project, and we want to make it great. And we think balancing it with some home ownership to have people that are going to live here in the community long term and contribute to those retailers is the right mix for this time.
Right. I don't disagree, and I appreciate the partnership and the patience. But yeah, no, I do like the project. I just want to realize how our visions are, right? With partners like you on how we develop a city, because this city is not just based on our tenure, your existence, but it's going to last forever. Like my example, 50 years ago, whoever built those freeways at 680 is commendable because they had visioned that, and I do trust that working with the staff and yourselves did envision that, and I do not disagree that this is the best probably under the circumstances on that. It's just an understanding what I'm trying to solicit, so that later on when we're faced again with projects like this or developments, we learn from the conversations that we had tonight, and hopefully, we have a longer vision. Live work, right? It was during my watch that the concept of live work was introduced. I believe that was 2016 or 17. Those lines of small townhouses by Milpitas Boulevard. When this was proposed on this project, did we ever, either the applicant or us, did we ever look at the success or downfalls of the live work projects that we did approve in 16 or 17? I know now, I pass there over every day, there's a barber shop on that small thing, but just curious, did we consider its success in considering live work in this project?
Thank you, Vice Mayor. Director Lee, would you happen to have that information?
Yeah, so I can answer. I would say we didn't consider the success in terms of like looking at, how many of those are being used as commercial and how successful are each of those businesses. But what I would say is, in considering live work units, we did want to ensure that the ground floor would actually be designed and operated as commercial space, because as you all often probably know, it can be called a live work unit, but over time, the ground floor ends up just serving as extra living space for the person living there. So the way that this is achieved is through the design. So if you were to look at the renderings and the elevations, you'll see that, they are designed as commercial storefronts. And also, the floor plans don't allow for, divisions of rooms. So it has to be this open kind of office commercial space. But also, in addition, we have imposed a condition of approval that essentially requires these ground floors to be a deed restriction that requires these ground floors to be used as commercial space. So while we didn't look at like some of the like data in that sense, we did consider that possibility of it maybe not being used as commercial. And we want to ensure that it actually will serve the purpose that we would want it to serve.
All right, I think I'm down to my last question, right? So I was looking at the development agreement and I noticed that there was a provision for extension, a 3 years renewable by 2. So what is the purpose of that extension? Provision, I mean.
Attorney Curtis, would you be able to answer that?
Yeah, I might ask Mr. Creech if he might come up and speak to that. I believe that the intent here is to keep essentially a moving clock while still having the flexibility to extend if need be. But I'm not sure if there are specifics of the negotiation that I might be missing.
I just want assurance that the extension provision is not something to change minds again, right? Just be cautious about that. So please, Chris.
Yes, Your Honor. Christopher Creature, Assistant State Attorney. So in response to that, the particular point was the applicant is asking for a 3-year term, which is what they're projecting for the agreement to be. They're asking for those 2-year options, with the idea being that circumstances may change, their development timeline may change, and they want to be able to have that flexibility to be able to continue the agreement should circumstances change. In terms of development agreements generally, for the time in which they last, for the kind of development they support, this is not an unusual ask for the amount of time, nor the ability to have those options so that if circumstances change and they can't realize development the way that they originally intended. So ultimately, this was their request for a timeline. It was something put into the agreement because it's consistent with other kinds of timelines we've had for development agreements.
Can we have a pinky promise and assurance that this extension is not catered to change plans and visions later on, but purely and strictly to cater for developmental hurdles, like things like that? The only fear I may say about that is with 7 years, we had 10 years to change the vision in 2011, and then there is a possibility of another 7 years here that may change things. But if the extension is only catered to ensure development goes forward with some anticipated hurdles other than changing the plans or entitlement, as you speak of, is
Vice
the
Mayor,
purpose.
Yeah, we like the pinky promise, but I think the biggest promise in the development agreement is that the $400,000 public benefit fee has to be paid within 2 years. And so we are highly incentivized to do this and do it on a very quick timeline, and the city will get that public benefit fee within that 2-year time period. So I think that is the biggest part of this DA, which shows you we are committed and we want to move fast. The extensions are because There could be a global pandemic. There, things change. We're living in an interesting time. Flexibility is a little bit nice, but we like the pinky promise too.
All right, but not totally a change like what happened in 2011 to 2015, hopefully.
And Vice Mayor, if I may, the agreement also pertains to the project as stated in the plan.
Okay,
And
okay.
incorporates those development plans as part of it. It allows for minor deviations as specified in the agreement. Major deviations do not, they would have to come back and get additional entitlements and approvals from the council.
Yeah, I think I read that. Well, thank you. Thank you, Chris. Thank you, Mayor.
Okay. Thank you. Okay, is there anyone else that would like to make any comments? So we have Councilmember Lin.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you. First, I want to thank staff for the presentation and for the recommendation, and thank you to the applicant. I like the project. I like all the answers that answer to the questions that our councils have. I appreciate the persistence in trying to get this project to the finish line. Although it's long, but it looks good, and I think the end result and the delivery will mix it up for. So thank you again for choosing Milpitas, to staying in Milpitas with the project, and you got my one vote for this. So thank you. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you very much. Anyone else have any more comments? I do have one more about the debt, not density bonus, the community benefit. I see that. Can you put that slide up about that has the community benefit on there?
Can someone provide the slide number, please?
We're working on it, Suzanne.
I think it's 13.
City Clerk, it would be either 14 or 15. 14 would be for the density bonus permit and 15 for the DA.
So I guess I wanted to ask, how did you come up with that 400K? Because we had just recently a project from Stratford that gave us $1 million, and I'm wondering, and this project is, I mean, when you think about these homes, they're worth over probably $2 million, or I don't know, maybe $1.5 million. So I'm just wondering how did you come up with that 400,000?
Director Lee can take the answer to that.
Yes. So, in negotiating a development agreement, we wanted to have some basis, some reasonable analysis, although in the end, the development agreement is negotiable and flexible. So we try to base it off of something objective. The best thing that we thought of was we first looked at how many units that we would be missing out on relative to the previous entitlement. And then we looked at the impact fees that we would have collected for those units. It comes out to a fairly large number, close to $6 million. However, acknowledging that impact fees are meant to pay for the impacts associated with more units, a reduction of units, it was difficult to, make that connection and require the full or ask for this full amount of impact fees. However, we do recognize at the same time, we recognize that the one impact that does increase actually with lower density is transportation, because higher densities usually result in less driving, more walking, biking, and public transportation. So when you narrow that amount down, the impact fee and all the improvements that it was supposed to pay for, when you narrow it down to transportation, then you come up with approximately 1.2 million in value. So then from there, we went back and forth with the developer, and they have decided to provide a combination of cash, given their current constraints, but also converting additional units beyond what would be required in the affordable housing unit. So they can't count just meeting requirements as a benefit. It has to be something beyond that. So they are proposing to convert 3 of the market rate units into 3 low income and 1 of them into very low income. at Gideon, of course. So then when you take the value, and the way we try to monetize that is looking at the rental savings that the community would experience as a result, which should be over 55 years, and then the amount of rent, the cheaper rents that you would expect from lower income housing. So when you calculate that and you add the 400,000, it comes out to a bit more than the 1.2. So that's how we kind of came to this combination. But the applicant could speak to a little bit more about why perhaps this combination worked best for them.
So the applicant, would you like to expand on that?
From what I remember, first of all, is that I thought the calculation was a little closer to $2 million in value that the city is getting from public benefit. But yes, I mean, I think Jay summarized it right. And look, this is part of the reason why it's taken about a year to work through all this with city staff. And city staff's pretty tough negotiators to get us to this point, because I would tell you originally this whole project was approved with all market rate housing, everything, like all those units and so now you're getting the city's now getting as Jay talked about 18 instead of moderate rate units, which would be at on the townhome site low, and then 3 more low with very low. So it comes down. It came out to like almost $2 million of value, and frankly, because we've carried this project for as long as we have and haven't been able to move it forward, that was the amount of cash that we were capable to put up in this development agreement. But I will say that this project, which we feel very strongly will move forward quickly, it will generate over $10 million of development impact fees to the city, within the next 12 months. So, there is that just natural intrinsic benefit to the city with this project moving forward on top of the public benefits that we've talked about here.
Yeah, I know we negotiate too here on the council too. So, so I'm gonna make this proposal. So we're trying to revitalize our Old Town Main Street, and one of the projects we want to do is build a community police station. It's not really build it; we just want to revamp it. However, I was thinking, you have a lot of empty spaces there, and would that be a possibility to put our community police office? It's not really a station, so that way our officers can go and write the reports, go to the restroom, and also, I'm just wondering. I'm throwing that out there as part of the 4K plus that.
I'm not quite sure I totally understand. Are you saying
400K,
in our
not
inline
4K.
retail? Like, I'm not quite sure I understand what you're proposing.
Well, do you have a slide of the market? Which is it, Gideon? Which one is it? You know where Market Street is, and across you have a lot of empty spaces that haven't been leased. Or even near that pizza slice place that there's a couple of places that haven't been leased.
And so you're suggesting I would have to go back and discuss with my partners. That's not something I could commit to tonight, unfortunately. If that's something that is of interest, I mean, we can look at it. I mean, there's a whole level of approvals and security and everything that we need to go through in terms of doing a civic use in there.
Yeah, way back I wanted a child care center.
Yes.
And but then I was looking at, we have a huge amount of child care centers in the city of Milpitas, so it probably wouldn't be profitable. I mean, it would be nice to have the families just walk across the street to have their child care. But like I said, we have a lot of child care centers in Milpitas. We're inundated, actually. So yeah, I was thinking that, and just off the top of my head, I'm thinking, well, maybe that could be a possibility. But in order for me to approve that, I want to see if that can be done. If not, then I'm just gonna maybe just hold off. for me. That's my vote. But I like the project. One of the things I do like about the project is that, first of all, I agree, the market it's not sustainable to have a hotel. The original plan it just doesn't pencil out. Because now we have a lot of online shoppers, and then now we have I don't know if you know, but in Milpitas, we're just opening up a one-day on-demand Google. So now they can just order something online and just get it that very next or the same day. I think it's called same day. So I like the fact that it won't be an eyesore. It's been there for over 10 years. And I do get complaints about it. What are you guys going to do about this? So those are some of the things that I've been that I do thinking about what this project what it does to help our city. And again, you mentioned about the profit. Yeah. So we're just thinking out of the box. I don't know if staff has anything. And then we do have the great mall across the street. So people will be shopping there, so that brings in revenue. And it's right near the TOD, Transit Oriented. It's part of the Transit Oriented Development Project. So those are the reasons why I would go for this project. But I'm just thinking out of the box about that other thing that I threw out there.
Well, what I would be willing to do is, I can't commit tonight and without talking to my partners and figuring out exactly where the space could go. But I would be willing to commit to like a evaluation process and working with city staff at looking at a potential area for what you're describing. And we've we've been here in the city for a long time, so there's a commitment to work to find space for what you're asking for, but to actually commit to like the size of space and where it is and all that tonight is very difficult for me to try to do.
Well, with that, since we're negotiating with that, if that's not going to happen, or if you're going to look into it, if that's not going to happen, then I would like to increase that $400K so that way we can at least revamp that little area in South Main Street. So we have Councilmember Chua.
Do you want to say a figure on that one? You mentioned that you wanted to increase that, and do you have a number in mind?
Yeah, I was thinking 1 mil, but it depends on the council what you guys decide. Okay.
I have another issue.
Okay, go ahead, Councilmember Chua.
This is not related to that one, but I do want to say thank you to staff. When I first heard about this strategy, if you will, on how to develop this piece of land that has been vacant for a while, I was so impressed when Jay went through, because we have briefings, as you know, and I was so impressed how creative it was, how this came about. And I do want to say kudos to our staff, the planning team, and also our legal team, as well as the executive management team. It's really impressive. When I first heard about it, on how they came up with this, I have no idea. So thank you so much, and I just want to say that. And I do like the project, and thank you so much for sticking with us and not leaving Milpitas. Thank you.
Anybody else have any comments? William? I think I'll come down the line. First William, and then we'll come down. Go ahead, William. Councilmember William Lamb. What?
More than 22 for the affordable housing ordinance. That might not be a good trade-off for the 17 unit for the housing. So I like that number to increase?
I'm sorry, through the mayor, are you looking for a response from the applicant? Okay, thank you. Thank you very much, Councilmember Lamb. I think as I summarized in my presentation, we are far exceeding the city's affordable housing standards, both in number and in the affordability range. So 15 moderate income units is the requirement, and we have 22, all low and very low, which are the hardest categories to satisfy. When I first started in my career as a very junior planner, one of my jobs was affordable housing compliance. And we had these very complicated checklists, and we had income verifications, and it is very hard to provide low and very low affordable units. And that is why they are prized in the RENA allocations. And that's why this project will do a great thing for the city in helping meet RENA demand during this cycle. Without this project being approved through the DA, this property will sit vacant, and as is recognized in the staff report, will not be developed during this RENA cycle, and we will not be able to get the city any affordable units. And so 22 low and very low are much better than the 15 moderate units that are otherwise required by the ordinance. So I would respectfully submit that we have done as much as we can. They are built, they are ready to be converted very, very quickly, and those are great benefits to the city. You don't have to wait for them to be built and negotiated. They are ready, and we are able to do it very quickly.
You mean 17, not 15?
22.
No,
Oh, pardon me. The 15%
15%
is 17
17
units.
units.
Thank you for correcting me.
Okay.
Councilmember Lin, do you have any comments?
Sure, I'll take this opportunity to comment on this. Like I mentioned already, staff worked hard at this. The presentation looks good. All the deals and all the negotiations were up there and, you know, finalized. Then this is where it is tonight in front of us. And I'd like for us to be professional. We've always been trying to encourage developers to come into our city. So for my one vote, I like the project as is. I don't need to negotiate further. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. And now we have Councilmember Chua. Sorry.
It's all right. As I said before, I do like the project. And I'm okay with the number of units. But I do see the mayor's point of increasing the 400,000 to 1 million. It's for we have lots of projects that we want to do. And and I agree with the mayor with the 1 million. What we can do is, like we said, the 400,000 will be given to the city in 2 years. So I would like to propose 2 years, 400,000. Third year, 200,000. Fourth year is 200,000. Fifth year, 200,000. So I hope that works. Thank you.
Okay, we have Vice Mayor Barbadillo. Oh, sorry. Wrong guy.
Okay, thank you, Mayor. I always like balance, right? When there's two conflicting issues, there's two conflicting positions. You know, I tend not to right away jump on either's position, but look at balance. So it seems that at least there is an expression of some limitations on the public benefit, and probably we can have a compromise. the two ladies on my side is offering $1 million with some terms. Is there some reaction, at least a reaction, to see where we are on the public benefit side?
Yes, thank you, Vice Mayor. This development agreement was negotiated in good faith with city staff. It seems very reasonable given this product. We cannot increase the development agreement to $1 million. I think that what we might be able to do is advance the timing mechanism by which the city receives the monies promised in the development agreement. So perhaps if the mayor would consider accepting the money earlier, not in 2 years, that might be a way that we could compromise on this. But I think again, I want to reiterate what the staff report says. Your staff have concluded that if the development agreement is not approved, this project will sit vacant, and the city will not get more credit to the arena needs that you have. And I think given the significant number of affordable housing units at the very low and low income level, the urban public space that is quite large and designed to invite the community in, the live work units facing the retail, really trying to activate Market Street, not turning our back on the Great Mall, but in fact, enhancing that area, really trying to get people in and through the community. And Madam Mayor, as you pointed out, trying to support these retailers because the retail business has changed quite a bit. It's going to continue to change quite a bit. And so we need to get people there. We'd like to get them there very quickly so that we can continue to have success in Milpitas. I think otherwise it would be very challenging to advance a project.
Okay, I'll tell you what, let's compromise. So instead of 400K, 800. That's, I'm just thinking about what things we could do to improve our city. I mean, it's these are things that could be sorely used. We want to create there's so many things we want to do, but we just don't have the funding, and it'll be a public benefit for the residents, even the nearby, even for the townhomes that you're building. So I think that 800K would, it's not going to break the bank, in my opinion. And then we haven't even talked about the arts. I haven't even seen the arts, our art ordinance here. Where's that at? So.
I apologize. Like I as Shauna said, like we really worked hard with staff too, and they pulled us far away from where we were originally willing to do, and so I'm just like trying to process this, and I'm actually texting two of my partners because we're just trying to get to a place that we might get you comfortable with. So I will say that instead of, and I really appreciate the creative thinking of like spreading out the money, but we just want to make a clean deal here and try to move this thing forward so it doesn't sit for another 3 to 5 years. And so we're willing to meet you in the middle, Mayor. We were offering 400 instead of, and you had offered $1 million. We can do 700,000, and that is, I mean, that's the most I'm prepared to do, and hopefully we can get your support to get the project approved.
Okay, I like that because, like I said, we didn't even put the arts ordinance in there. Where you're required to put art fees or put in lieu fees for the art fund, but because you're building that park, but to me that's art in itself. So I'm good with 700K. It depends on the council. Do we have Councilmember Chua?
Mr. Stack, how do you want that? Do you want to
just the way it is right now as written? So the same timing the 400 would have come in. It's a date certain within 2 years, but or I think it's the last townhome unit as it's built. So just the way the condition reads right now for the 400,000, just changing it to 700,000.
Oh, thank you so much. That's good. Thank you. Mayor, if I may.
Go ahead.
I would like to make a motion.
Okay, go ahead. Councilmember Chua.
Thank you, Mayor. I would like to move to adopt resolution approving a site development permit amendment, Best State tentative map, conditional use permit amendment, density bonus permit, and development agreement for 109 townhomes and 10 accessory dwelling units at 1320 McCandless Drive with the change of 400,000 to 700,000 as community benefit.
There's a second.
I'll second that.
Okay, it was seconded. It was motioned by Councilmember Chua and seconded by Vice Mayor Barbadillo.
Mayor, if I may, can we clarify, does the motion include the rest of the recommended action, including the adoption of the ordinance and the waiver of the reading of the ordinance, except title? And would the council like me to read the title at this time?
Please.
And yes,
Please read the title. Please read the title.
The title of the ordinance is an uncodified ordinance of the City Council of the City of Milpitas approving a development agreement between the City of Milpitas and Fields CH Owner LLC and Milpitas District 2 Associates LLC.
Okay, great. Thank you. We'll call for the vote.
Vice Mayor Barbadillo,
Aye.
Councilmember Chua,
Aye.
Councilmember Lamb,
Aye.
Councilmember Lian,
Aye.
Mayor Montano.
And I am an aye. Congratulations. I tell you, we are, this is an investment. Think of it as an investment for the community. So it's a good thing, okay? Thank you. All right. So now we're moving on to item 16.
Yes, Mayor. Item 16 before the council is conducting a public hearing and adopt a resolution confirming the assessment and ordering the levy for the Landscaping and Lighting Maintenance Assessment District number 95-1, McCarthy Ranch in fiscal year 26-27. And presenting today is going to be Michael Severa. City Engineer Michael Severa.
All right, there we go. Actually, I was going to do items 16 and 17 as one presentation. I'm sorry, Acting City Manager Hernandez. I was going to do the presentation for items 16 and 17.
Sure.
Then we can take separate action at the end of the presentation.
Sounds fantastic.
Excellent. Okay. Thank you, Acting City Manager Hernandez. Good evening, Mayor, Vice Mayor, and City Council members. I am Michael Severa, the City Engineer. Today I will present the annual assessment and conduct a public hearing for the two city landscape and lighting maintenance assessment districts for Milpitas Ranch number 95-1 and St. Clair Horizons number 98-1. Next slide, please. Both districts provide funding for the city maintenance and improvements of the special benefit that is associated with the aesthetics, safety, and economic activity. McCarthy Ranch was created in 1995 and it included the maintenance of the landscaping, irrigation system, pedestrian lighting, gateway columns, and entry improvements along North McCarthy Boulevard between State Route 237 and Dixon Landing Road and portions of Ranch Drive, as shown in the image in the right in green highlight. St. Clair Horizon was created in 1998 and includes the maintenance of the landscaping, irrigation system, and pathway improvements adjacent to St. Clair Frontage Road and Las Coches Street, constructed as part of the St. Clair Horizons residential project, as shown in the image to the left in green highlight. Next slide, please. The annual assessment process and administration for both LLMDs are governed by the Landscape and Lighting Act of 1972 and require the council to initiate preparation of the annual engineering report that was initiated on February 17th, approve the annual engineering reports and assessments, which was approved on April 21st, and lastly, conduct a public hearing and adopt a resolution confirming annual assessments and ordering the levy for the districts, which is brought forward tonight for council's consideration. Next slide, please. The McCarthy Ranch LMD includes 45 commercial and industrial parcels. According to the engineering report, the estimated budget for the maintenance and services of the district is $468,800 for fiscal year 26 and 27. These assessment rate per lot square footage is 3.89 cents, which does not exceed the maximum allowable rate of 5.86 cents. The fiscal year of 26-27 rate is approximately 2.28% higher than the previous fiscal year of 3.81 cents due to the combination of adjusting expenses for material and utilities and accommodating cost of living increases for staff. As a reminder, the rate in fiscal year 25-26 remained the same as previous fiscal year, as there was sufficient funds in operating budget reserves. Sorry. Next slide, please. The St. Clair Horizon LMD includes 98 residential parcels. According to the engineering report, the estimated budget for the maintenance and services of the district is $66,785 for fiscal year 26-27. The assessment rate per lot is $538.32, which does not exceed the maximum allowable rate of $605.63. The fiscal year 26-27 rate is approximately 0.02% lower than the previous year rate of $538.41 due to the significant slightly decrease in material expenses to maintain the district. The budget did not include a cost of living increase for staff, as there are sufficient funds in the operating budget. As a reminder, the rate for fiscal year 25-26 remained the same as the previous fiscal year. Next slide, please. So recommendations. We'll have to take action on each item separately, but I'll go ahead and mention the recommendations now. For McCarthy Ranch LMD, open the public hearing, receive any comments, and move to close the hearing following any testimony. Adopt a resolution confirming assessment and ordering a levy for the landscape and lighting maintenance assessment district number 95-1 McCarthy Ranch for fiscal year 2026-27. And then the second order would be St. Clair Horizons LMD, open the public hearing, receive any comments, move to close the hearing following any testimony. Adopt a resolution confirming the assessment and ordering a levy for landscape and lighting maintenance assessment district number 98-1 St. Clair Homes for fiscal year 2026-27. This concludes my presentation. I'll be happy to answer any questions. Thank you.
Thank you, Michael. I want to open up the public hearing on this item. Is there, item 16, is there anyone? We have Mr. Montemayor, come on up.
Hi, Mayor. I do not have any speaker cards.
Welcome.
Voltaire Montemayor, Milpitas. Oh, I had a yellow card, but for the topic 15, you did great on that one. Anyway, for this one, I'll mention two words. One is the word L-E-V-Y, levy. You pronounce it that way. I think, regardless, I think you need the budget for that. Whoever will be benefited for that is, I think we need that. We don't need to talk much about it. No discussion. We need the levy. And then the word sustaining. I think we're sustaining. We had this every year. So thank you.
All right, thank you, Mr. Montemayor. So now, is there anyone else in the public that would like to make any comments? If not, I will close the public hearing and move to council discussion. Any comments from the council? If not, we will go ahead and make a motion and a second. I need a motion and a second. But before that, I want to ask one question, Michael. So, this includes the lighting and the landscaping. Are there any problems with our lighting? Because there's been a lot of copper thefts and it affects our lighting. So do we have like a stats on that?
Good evening, Madam Mayor. Confirming, yes, we have had copper theft, and staff has been addressing that incrementally and sporadically for, I would say, the last 3 months, 3 to 4 months. There's been copper theft in various areas throughout the city, and McCarthy is one of them. So it's done on overtime. We have the vacancies that we have are impairing our abilities to get to these expeditiously, but we're trying to do that as quickly as possible.
Yeah, it's an ongoing problem. I just spoke to AT&T, and they're thinking they're probably going to do what do they call fiber optics on the ground, but that's expensive. So then it carries on to the consumer. I'm thinking, is there a way that you can look into solar lighting now that the technology is really advanced in solar lighting? Anyway, if you can just look into that, that would be good. But yeah, all right. So I'm looking for a motion and a second. We have a. Okay.
I move to adopt a resolution confirming the assessment and ordering the levy for landscaping and lighting maintenance assessment district number 95-1 McCarthy Ranch in fiscal year 2026-2027.
A second? So it was motioned by Councilmember Barbadillo and seconded by Councilmember Lynn. Let's call for the vote.
Vice Mayor Barbadillo.
Aye.
Councilmember Chua.
Aye.
Councilmember Lamb.
Aye.
Councilmember Leanne.
Aye.
Mayor Montano.
And I'm an aye. Thank you. So now we're going to do leadership and support services.
17.
Oh, sorry about that. Okay, we're public hearing for item 17.
Mayor, I do not have any speaker cards.
Okay, there's no one from the audience. Okay, but we just did the motion.
Yeah, but it's two separate.
Oh,
It was
that's
one
right.
presentation.
Okay, we have to do another one. Okay, so now we'll close the public hearing, council discussion on this item. Is there a motion and second? So we have Councilmember Lamb.
I'm just wondering why didn't you use solar lighting?
We had this conversation probably during the study session. So to convert the system into solar does take some time, and there's an additional cost. It probably, I don't even know the cost, but it probably run between 5,000 to 10,000 to convert it, if that's even feasible to use the existing post. But there is a cost associated with it. So we would have to look at the feasibility and look at our budgets long term, if that's even possible. I think we have 4,000 streetlights in the city, if I recall correctly.
May I?
Oh, go ahead.
We have about 4,800 streetlights. What we are focusing on when we do, when we re-energize poles that have had copper theft, is we're looking to sort of secure and harden the pole boxes themselves. So there's, you either underground those or you actually concrete fill them so that somebody who's intent on some nefarious activity can't easily access a pole box and pull the copper out. Staff's intention right now is to channel our energies towards providing solar option on our park systems. So we are focusing right now on our parks and areas in the parks that may be dormant and provide security vulnerabilities, and we're doing that with Senate Park. Senate Park will be our very first park where we're transitioning from the solar that we did just a few months ago. We presented on Hammond Way, and we are now starting with a Senate Park, and we'll probably continue that with other parks. In the meantime, we're looking to harden and secure our current copper infrastructure.
Well, that is great to hear that you're forward thinking and thinking about that, because it does save the city money, and that ultimately at the end it saves the taxpayers money. So that's great. Thank you. Councilmember, anyone else? Any comments? Okay. Okay, so who will motion? Make a motion. Make a motion. Councilmember Lamb.
Move to approve.
Yeah, move to approve item 17.
Okay, and it was seconded by Councilmember Lian. And let's call for the vote.
Vice Mayor Barbadillo,
Aye.
Councilmember Chua,
Aye.
Councilmember Lamb,
Aye.
Mayor Montano,
And I'm aye.
oh, and Councilmember Lian.
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you. And then so now moving to leadership and support services. Item 18, city
Thank-
manager.
Thank you, Mayor. The final item for council this evening is to adopt a resolution appointing a permanent city manager. Presenting for city staff is going to be City Attorney Christian Curtis.
Thank you, Mayor, members of the council. Item 18 before you today is the adoption of a resolution appointing Willie A. Hopkins Jr. as city manager of the city of Milpitas, approving the accompanying employment contract, and authorizing such other actions as may be necessary to effectuate Mr. Hopkins' appointment. As the council is aware, Mr. Hopkins was selected after an extensive search by you based on the was selected based on the substantial qualifications and experience with municipal government, including prior work as city manager. Under Government Code Section 54953, we are required to have an oral statement of the salaries and benefits for certain local executives prior to the adoption of the contract. To meet that requirement, I'm now letting you know that the annual salary provided for the city manager position in item 18 is $350,000, with the benefits stated in the employment agreement contained valued at $166,027.
Okay, thank you very much. So I'm opening this up for public comment. Anybody from the
Mayor, I
public?
do not have any speaker cards.
Okay, thank you. All right. Did you have a comment to say? Come on up.
Relations. And I believe the previous, the current, the acting, the coming one, they all do. I believe they all do good or great. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Montemayor. And I appreciate your civic duty getting involved, coming over here. Okay, so now moving to council discussion. Anybody? Anybody want to have any comments? If not, make a motion. Is there a motion?
Yes, coming.
So Councilmember Chua.
Seeing there's no discussion, I would like to move to adopt a resolution to appoint Mr. Willie A. Hopkins Jr. as city manager. Authorize the mayor to execute an employment agreement on behalf of the city. Authorize the city attorney and acting city manager or designee to take such actions as necessary and appropriate to carry out the purpose of this agreement. Do you need to read? No, we don't need it? Okay.
Okay, so it was motioned by Councilmember Chua and seconded by Councilmember Lin. Okay, let's call for the vote.
Vice Mayor Barbadillo,
That's an aye.
Councilmember Chua,
Aye.
Councilmember Lamb,
Aye.
Councilmember Lian,
Aye.
Mayor Montano.
And I am an aye. Okay, well, That's done. So now we're moving on to announcements and future agenda items. City Manager, do you have any announcements?
Thank you, Mayor. With the passage of item 18, this is likely going to be my last council meeting. And so I think what I would say is thank you to the council for having confidence in me to kind of hold down this seat in the meantime while we looked for a permanent city manager. I got to have an experience that only a couple police chiefs before me has got to have. And it's been an honor to serve this city in this capacity. It's been a pleasure working with Assistant City Manager Matt Cano, as well as our ELT team. I've learned a lot from each and every one of them. And also, I had an opportunity to see a lot more detail in how much the people that work in our various city departments contribute to the functioning of the city. I think the other part that I really appreciated was the opportunity to work more closely with each of you. In my police chief role, obviously we had interactions, but not to the level of depth that I've had to, or that I've got to experience since January 20th. And so with that, I will miss working closely with you. I'll still be around, obviously, in my police chief role, and I just appreciate you guys and all the folks that I got to interact with while I was in this assignment. Thank you.
Thank you so much. I mean, we really appreciate you stepping up because it wasn't, it was a last minute thing. But I know I really appreciated your expertise. And wow, you're a good city manager. But I will tell you, it's a lot of hard work. It's not a 9-to-5 job. It's like, so I appreciate it's and then plus this gave you an opportunity to be a lifelong learner and put it on your resume. It's always good to know, to have that background knowledge, and I'm really glad that you really enjoyed being a city manager, and you're good. I will tell you that.
It was teamwork. Matt Cano, I mean, I can't speak highly enough for the contributions that he makes to keep the city going. So, very, very happy and happy.
Thank you. I think does someone else want to make some comments?
I just want to thank Acting City Manager Jared, and I apologize for all the late texts, emails that I just sent to you 24/7, and you've been there for us, and I'm really impressed, and I mentioned this to you before, that you're one of the few acting city managers who acted like a city manager. And thank you so much. And we won't miss you because you'll be around. So thank you again.
Thank you.
Okay, anybody else?
I'll say something.
Okay, Seth, Gary, Vice Mayor.
I always am a believer of learning along the way. And, the style and the management that you did bring, with all those jokes and with all those informalities in a good way, right? I think it has us learn that, city processes, decision-making is not always supposed to be formal. There's a component of it that, we lighten it up based on the personality, and I believe that what you had us learn on this period of time. So we appreciate your knowledge. We appreciate the leadership that you shared with us, and hopefully, with both experiences, both sides, we better the city.
Thank you, sir.
Anybody else?
I want to say a lot
William
more.
is on.
But,
I left. William was on.
Sorry. One thing I want to say is thank you, Jared. And I know you worked for the city all your life, and I'm surprised how humble you are. I appreciate you telling us you're still learning, and how humble you are, and also you're very open to us. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
We can still text him anytime.
It's always the case.
You want it, Councilmember Lynn?
Thank you.
No? Be good.
or I'm
You
getting
said no?
reprimanded.
No?
It's reprimanded
okay.
in
All
private,
right.
praise in public, so
But
I'm getting in trouble.
Yeah, Jared is a quick learner, and what I like about him is he thinks out of the box. Comes up with some great ideas. I go, wow, that's a good idea. So we did great, you know? You did great. Sharp.
Thank you.
Thank you. One more thing I would like to, before we end this, so I'm sure you all heard about the San Diego, the mosque. So I am saddened by the tragic shooting at the mosque in San Diego. It was in the news that claimed 3 lives. A house of worship that should always be a place of peace and never fear. My thoughts are with the victims, their families, and the entire Muslim community during this incredibly painful time. Hate and violence, they don't have no place in our communities. We are a nation built from diversity and must continue to choose compassion, unity, and understanding over bigotry and hate. To our Muslim neighbors, we stand with you, we support you, and we will not let fear divide us. I ask to close this meeting with a moment of silence for the victims of this horrible tragedy. Thank you. Prayers be with them. Everyone, good night, and we will see you on June 2nd, election night.
Oh, short. It should be short.